What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Raging Atheist. I am the Raging Atheist, and I have to go back at Shock of God. This dude is really driving me nuts. He's a fucking asshole. It's time to stop being nice with this douchebag. And if you didn't watch my video, because not many of you watched the last video I made, Shock of God is a liar, where I pretty much call him out for lying about you being a former atheist. I mean, it's a con. He's trying to sell a con so he can demonize the atheists. It's a gimmick. But so I call him out, and now it's time to really go at him hard.
Let's go through a list of things here. And have you noticed that on YouTube here, atheists always bash God, but they never bash Satan?
Alright, so you know why we never bash Satan? Because the Church of Satan doesn't rule the fucking world. The Church of Satan isn't one of the most powerful religions in the country. You know, it's not the Church of Satan that's trying to push creationism into our classrooms. It's not the Church of Satanism that's trying to stop abortion being legal. It's not the Church of Satanism that's telling people to go out and kill abortion doctors. But you see, that's not what you're talking about. See, Shock of God is trying to demonize atheists and say that we're all really just a bunch of Satanists, because we never talk about Satan. But, you know, atheists, us anti-theists, we don't believe in the stories. We don't believe in Satan. We don't believe that there's some horned demon out there, a fallen angel that is corrupting us unseen. That's your crazy ass.
So I don't know why they'll say God doesn't exist because there's evil in the world.
I really don't think that atheists go around saying God doesn't exist because any reason, really. I just don't think he says that, but especially not because there's evil in the world. You know, he tries to say that atheists proclaim that God doesn't exist. And a lot of us do, but he's missing the point. We're not saying that God doesn't exist. We're saying your image of God doesn't exist. These stories doesn't exist. Atheist means to be an anti-theist. That means that we don't believe in these ridiculous stories that you believe in. If there's some form of God, then it's nature, it's evolution, it's the will of the universe pumping out life. And that would not care about the ants that would be the human beings on this speck that would be a world in the universe. It just wouldn't.
And there's some reasons why there's evil in the world. Number one, God did not create it that way, but he gave man and woman free will, and it is mankind that chose to rebel against God. Those bumps. Also, we have Satan in the world, which adds to the evil, and we live in a fallen world. Okay?
So this idiot is going to contradict himself and not even realize it, because he's so moronic that he thinks that his talking points are so great that nobody will see through the bullshit. But he just contradicted himself, because he said God didn't create evil. He didn't create it that way. But isn't God omnipotent? Isn't God incapable of making mistakes? Well, he gave us free will, and humans did it. Well, so when he created us, he made a mistake? He didn't mean for evil to exist? See, he contradicts himself, and then he talks about, well, Satan's in the world. Atheists don't believe in Satan, he does. So who's the Satanist? And then he's going to talk about a fallen world. What is a fallen world? Our world is not fallen. Our world is in the same place it has ever been. The problem isn't that we're falling. The problem is that we're tilting. That's the problem. And see, this denial of science, this denial of reality, and grasping onto a fiction is what is driving the wars and the pestilence and the evil today. And he's gonna talk about how atheists call Christianity evil. That is what we mean. It drives evil. We're not saying every individual Christian is evil, but it's time to wake up to what the ideology is and what the ideology does.
When you really think about it, it is the atheist that is like the man sitting on a tree limb while he's sawing off the limb, plunging to his death. When the atheist uses that argument, there's evil in the world, therefore God doesn't exist, because on atheism there should not be evil. Evil is actually an argument for Christian theism.
So this guy is making no sense at all. I don't understand how evil is an argument for Christian theism. It's an argument that the God you pretend to be omnipotent and eternal isn't omnipotent and eternal. That it's an argument that it's all a lie, which is what anti-theism is all about, which is what atheism is all about. And you know, I'm tired of this whole snide attitude of this douchebag. I mean, just snide. He thinks that he's so witty, as if we haven't heard these arguments our entire lives, as if these arguments aren't what pushed us to anti-theism in the first place.
So on atheism, we're all just evolved animals, that's what they say. So why would there be evil in the world if we're all just evolved animals? There's no animal God.
Again, this guy is making no sense at all. Like, no animal God? How do you know? Are you in the minds of the animal? Do you know whether or not they believe in God? So how do you know that? And are you saying that there's no evil in animals? I mean, evil is a matter of perception. You know, the bear attacking a man, well, to the man, that's evil. To the bear, that's lunch. You know, it's a matter of perspective. And I'm not saying, oh, murder is a matter of perspective, because that's what he would say. That he tries to put that argument on into that place. Although, in some circumstances, murder is a matter of perspective. Again, this whole debate with the girl that just got convicted of manslaughter for helping her boyfriend commit suicide, or encouraging her boyfriend to commit suicide. So, you know, this whole concept that, well, animals, I don't get what he's trying to say. He's making irrelevant points because he's talking to irrelevant people that'll eat this shit up. He's talking to people that are, let's say, probably on the lower rung of the intelligence specter.
So why would atheists say there's evil in the world? In fact, the atheists actually admitting that God exists, saying that there are things that are evil in the world.
Again, I just don't see the relevance of this argument. Seems to me to be a nonsensical argument. This guy is spitting just to make himself feel better about his false notions of some imaginary creature up there looking down at him. It's sad.
Why, pray tell, do atheists keep bringing up evolution as if... I love when they bring up evolution, don't get me wrong, I want them to keep doing it, but why do they bring it up as an argument against God when evolution only talks about what happened after creatures were created, after mankind was created? It doesn't even talk about how these creatures were created.
Here he clearly gives away his con. You see, he claims to be a former atheist, so that gives him knowledge on evolution. Yeah, he doesn't know a goddamn thing about fucking evolution. Not a thing. Everything he just said is bullshit. Evolution explains everything from the moment the Big Bang happened to the moment that our planet formed, to its many stages, to the moment the amoeba came, to everything. It explains everything. The missing link isn't what happened before. The missing link is, how did we get from hominids to Homo sapiens? And that's been the debate. So this dude is just spitting bullshit. spitting bullshit. So, I mean, if he's saying that evolution is wrong because we can't explain how the amoeba was created, how the cell, and I'm fairly certain that they have explained how that first amoeba organism came to existence, but say that they didn't, and God created the amoeba. So the amoeba is the children of Israel.
It doesn't talk about that. You ever notice that? It only talks about how they changed afterwards. Well, big whoop-de-doo, atheist. See this car in front of me? If I said, how did that car come into existence? And let's say you and I asked our sweet, cuddly atheist friend that, and my atheist friends, evolution is not helping you at all.
Actually, evolution has helped us because it has explained where we came from. We now know what to look for. We see evolution everywhere now. It has helped us. What hasn't helped is people like you giving out the same regurgitated talking points. You get the same argument. The motorcycle, now it's the car. It's, that car didn't make itself. No shit, Sherlock. What a fucking idiot you are. Like, these arguments only appease the fools that believe in this hysterical nonsense and don't take the time to Google to find out whether or not the shit you're talking about is true. And those that do are probably calling you out for the asshole you are.
Even in scripture it says that God created them after their own kind.
Wait a minute. What are you saying? Are you saying that humans already existed before God created us? Or are you saying that God was an alien? Do you subscribe to some of those atheists that think that God was an alien and, mixed his DNA with the DNA of the hominids? Is that what you're saying? Like I thought all this happened at the beginning of time, 6,000 years ago, when God said, hey, the universe exists, and it just popped into a fucking existence 6,000 years ago, right? And I thought that, he created man to look like him. But now you're saying that he created man to look like other men? He created man after his own kind? What the fuck are you talking about?
Doesn't prove anything. It's just a theory on how things change over time. Let's keep going. There's so many atheist awful arguments. What's the next one on our list? Oh, you ever hear this? They talk about Abraham, how Abraham was told, let's open up the visor, by God to go sacrifice his son Isaac on the mountain.
All right, here we go. Isaac and Abraham. You see, I covered this a little bit in my first video on Shock of God, and he's going to go into a lot more detail on this crazy ass shit that he's spinning and how it's actually a good story. In fact, it's one of the most loving stories ever.
And they'll say, would you kill your son? Would you kill your child? But God didn't tell everyone to do this. He's telling one person for a certain specific reason. I want to tell you why.
God is absolved. I mean, he only told one person to go and murder his child. That doesn't make him a bad dude.
He's telling Abraham this because he wants to show what he's going to do with his son, Jesus Christ.
All right, now he's going to go further with this. Before we get too much farther into it, though, I challenge you, Shock of God, you douchebag fucking liar. I challenge you to speak to one Jew. Bring me one Jewish person that will subscribe to the notion that when God brought Abraham up the mountain to kill his fucking son, that it was what's the word I'm looking for? A precursor to Jesus Christ. It was foreshadowing Jesus Christ. You bring one Jew to back up that claim that there is some Jewish text that will back that up.
When atheists say, well, would you kill your son? They don't even get it. They should read scripture, because in scripture God promises Abraham that he's going to raise up descendants like as many as the stars in the sky. Then, after that, he tells, and I'm skipping a lot of stuff, okay? But then he tells Abraham, okay, take your son up to the mountain, and there you're going to sacrifice him to me. And Abraham knows, well, God already promised me that the descendants are going to come from the line of Isaac, so God's going to raise him up again. That thing that atheists bring up is the most beautiful, loving thing that anyone can do.
And there you have it. It's the most beautiful, loving thing you can do to order somebody to murder their child. The most beautiful, loving thing you can do is order a father to murder his son. Beautiful, loving. Despicable. I mean, this dude obviously has no children, or he wouldn't feel that way. He wouldn't feel that they're so dispensable that if a voice just started talking to him in his head and told him, hey, you need to go kill that kid so I know that you love me, that's something you should do. Or would you just be foreshadowing the coming of the next Christ?
What I want to hear atheists talk about is quit saying, why would God tell Abraham to sacrifice his son? Because he did not.
And there you have it. The newest justification, the newest explanation for why their God is a douchebag that would order a man to sacrifice, murder his own child is, hey, he didn't do it. It doesn't say it. He did not do that. No, he did not do that. He didn't do it.
You need to say, okay, why did God tell him to do that? And why did God send his only son? And this is what's really stupid about atheism. If you really pay attention, don't miss this, what I'm going to tell you. When an atheist says, why did God tell Abraham to sacrifice his son? They're really admitting God exists.
Shock of God got me. He got me there. I mean, I just realized it. That every time I talk about this shitty God that orders a man to kill his child, that what I'm really doing is admitting that God exists. No, we're admitting that if he does exist, he's a dickhead. That's what we're admitting. That's all we're admitting. You know, I got a lot more to talk about with this fucking asshole. But I had to break it into several videos. This is going to be the Raging Atheist versus Shock of God Part 1. And then I'm going to have the Raging Atheist versus Shock of God Part 2. And then I'm making another video about all the little shit that he said that was just absolute hateful rhetoric, bigotry against atheists in another video. And then in another video, I'm going to go through his method of why he left atheism, the madness of atheism, as he says, and it's called Alive, his method. And we're gonna break down his method. And so yeah, pay attention for that. It's coming soon. Until then, I am the Raging Atheist. Hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, share me on your social media. See ya pretty soon.